Hello, everyone. I wanted to jump in the group before I have a TV appearance this afternoon because I wanted to tell you about how I got this TV appearance, which not only did I not pitch myself for, I didn't even know the network existed. So couldn't have possibly pitched myself for it. So I got an email actually a week ago asking me to be on this network. And unfortunately, the time they wanted me to be on, I was going to be on a plane flying back from New York. So that wasn't going to work for me. But I'm lucky that a week later, they reached out and had another topic for me. Hi, Kelly. Thank you. I love when I get an excuse to wear my red because I get to wear my red lipstick. And the good thing is this is like a good TV test because this is where I will sit and do my TV appearance. I have a professional HD camera and I have used it to go on national television all over the country multiple times before. So I'm using it even for my live now. But now I realize that it's like cutting off my necklace. So I'm going to have to find like a shorter necklace to wear. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about how I got this TV appearance without even pitching for it, because I think it really demonstrates the power of establishing yourself as an expert or as a thought leader in a space, and how you do all this work on the front end, and how time consuming and how tough it can kind of be in the beginning. And then the analogy I always give is it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Like once you get it started, it goes and it just grows and grows and grows, and you get asked to do stuff without even pitching for it. I never pitch myself really for anything anymore, and yet I do TV and radio and podcasts and guest blogs all over the place. So this particular appearance is for TD Ameritrade's over-the-top network. It is similar to something like a CNBC. They talk about financial issues all day long. They actually have just like a normal television network. They've got set shows going on all day long. They're just broadcast over the top, which means over the internet versus being through your cable box. I didn't even know they had a channel. But I got booked by a producer who used to book me at a different network years ago, who, when they decided they needed a sports business expert, was like, I know someone. And so she called me last week to be on the show, and I wasn't able to be on, but found a different topic for me this week and asked me to be on. But that's not like the secret behind it. That's not like, oh, okay, so you knew someone. The secret behind it, okay, the topic they're having me on to speak about today, I haven't written about. I'm trying to think if I've ever written about it. If I have, it's been a very long time ago, like when I was working at ESPN full-time as their sports business reporter, which I left there 4 years ago. So if I wrote about it, it was way back then, and I'm not even sure I wrote about it then. It's all about television viewership for the NFL and about their TV contracts and about the decline they had this year as far as attendance and viewers. And it used to be that when I got an appearance like that, it was because I had written something, particularly when I was writing, and I still do write for Forbes. I wrote for Forbes for a couple of years, then I went to ESPN, now I'm back at Forbes. So Forbes has been an awesome place for me to be because Forbes ranks so high in SEO, so high in search results. And so when people are searching around a topic that I cover, my pieces on Forbes tend to come up pretty high. And obviously that was true when I was at ESPN as well. And so in the beginning, when I got radio and TV appearances, a lot of them were things I didn't pitch for, even when I was just starting out, because they would be searching for an expert on a topic, and they'd, hit Google and search for the topic, and they would find me through the search engine, and they find the piece I wrote on Forbes about it, and then they would ask me to come on the show and talk about what I wrote. And so for a long time, I've gotten radio and TV and other opportunities speaking through people finding my work on Forbes. And over the years, okay, I have been writing and speaking and doing TV appearances, whatever. I have been creating content around the business side of sports for a decade. A decade, people. 10 years. And really, I wrote about it a little bit even before that. I started my first sports blog in 2006, I think. So we're talking more like 12 years, but have been like really seriously doing it for 10 years. Started on my own free little WordPress blog. So it's not like I started at Forbes. I started on my own free little WordPress blog, and it took me a couple of years. I didn't get to Forbes till 2011. I ended up getting 2 book deals along the way, and then I eventually got hired away by ESPN. I won't like belabor the story because a lot of you have probably already heard it before, but the point is, all this stuff falls in my lap now because I've done it for 10 years, okay? And the awesome thing about it is stuff I wrote years ago still comes up in search results. So people will get in touch with me about stories I wrote years ago and will want to book me for a speaking engagement or a radio interview or a TV interview on something I wrote a long time ago. I don't even write that actively anymore because I'm usually on here with you guys. I'm busy with my business. So although I'm still a contributor at Forbes and write some, I write like a few times a month. And this particular topic is not one I've written about, but a few things were playing in my favor. I have written about the business side of the NFL for the better part of 10 years. The NFL I've probably written about for 8 years. And well, no, probably 9 years, something, whatever. It's been a while. And on top of having done that, I have worked with people in different places. So a lot of the editors and producers that I've worked with over the years have moved to new places. As a matter of fact, one of my editors at Forbes in the Sports Money section is now at Inc. and over contributors there. And so when I want to talk to her about one of my clients as a contributor, she knows me. She opens my emails. So these editors and producers move around a lot. And so, I think the moral of the story is just get started. We all start somewhere. I started with 0 followers on any social media platform and a free little WordPress blog that no one knew existed, okay? 10 years later, I've had 2 book deals. One of them had a big advance. I've been paid to speak for the better part of 10 years now. I've had consulting gigs. I was able to transform my career. I was hired away from being an attorney to go work for ESPN. But these aren't things that happen overnight. I didn't write once for Forbes and like, poof, all this stuff happened to me. And so I get frustrated when people get one hit somewhere, or they want like one at Entrepreneur and one at Forbes and one at Inc. and then they're done. That's never going to do this stuff for you. That is not how you establish yourself as a thought leader. Thought leaders don't write one time in each place, okay? Now, thought leaders might appear in a lot of different places, but they appear in a lot of different places consistently over time. A lot of them are with one outlet or one network for a while as a recurring contributor. And so I've really been encouraging my retainer clients lately. You can ask them. There's a couple of them I've been harassing this week about they've already been able to write for somewhere like Entrepreneur once. The door is open for them to write more. And so I've been selling them on why being a contributor is so powerful, because you're building up this consistent body of work and it's doing a few different things for you. It's going to start establishing you as that thought leader in your space, because the more you show up talking about your topic, talking about your niche, the more people are going to associate with it. The more people, when they think online marketing, are going to be like, you know who I always see talking about that? Or when they think about publicity, hopefully they think of me and they think, oh, you know who's always talking about that? That's how you establish yourself as a thought leader, is all this consistent content that's out there all the time. And then the secondary benefit of that is it's out there and people can find it in search results, not only to become your client or your customer, but also to invite you to do other things. Then you can stop pitching yourself. I have not pitched myself in years. I do it every once in a while if I'm pitching, like I'll pitch for something that I don't do very often. Like I do a tiny bit of travel writing. And so like I'll still pitch myself to outlets for that. Outlets don't come to me for travel writing because I'm not a thought leader on travel writing, okay? I am established as a thought leader on sports business. No contest. And I'm not trying to like brag or be like overly confident, but look, I've done it for a freaking decade. I've got 2 books published with traditional publishers. I get paid to speak. I get brought in by athletic departments to consult. I've been paid to speak in the NFL. Like I'm pretty comfortable calling myself a thought leader on sports business. Okay. I'm not as comfortable calling myself that in the publicity space, not because I think that I'm not. I do think I am. I think I have great results for my clients and great case studies, but I definitely think that I haven't done it as long. Thank you for all the likes. I haven't done it for as long, and so I'm not at the same stage in positioning myself as a thought leader on publicity as I am positioning myself as a thought leader on the business of sports, because I've done that for 10 years. I've only done the publicity thing for 2.5 years. I've worked in this area for 4.5 years. I worked at a PR agency before I went out on my own, but I wasn't really trying to establish myself as an expert on publicity at that point. So like actually putting myself out there and getting guest blogs and podcast interviews and TV appearances and that kind of stuff in this space, in publicity, 2.5 years. In sports business, 10 years, okay? So I can tell you, having done it twice, where you're at 2.5 years versus where you're at 10 years. But guess what? You have to start somewhere. I had no built-in advantages. I knew no one. I had never worked in sports when I started establishing myself in that field. When I started trying to establish myself as a publicist, I have a degree in politics. I was a sports reporter. I was a corporate attorney before that. Like, whatever's holding you back, whatever you think you're not enough of an expert because you don't have a certain degree, or you haven't been in business a certain amount of time, or you haven't made enough money, all these crap that you're feeding yourself, let's let that go, because it's all crap. It all means nothing, okay? Your problem, and I'm talking to most of you, your problem is that you're not putting yourself out there. That's what the problem is. That's why you're not getting publicity. That's why you're not a thought leader yet. That's why people don't see you as the go-to expert in your niche. It's not because you don't have the right degree. It's not because you haven't been in business long enough. It's not because you haven't made enough money. It's not because you're female. It's not because of your race. It's not any of these things you're feeding yourself. It is because you are not putting yourself out there. And if you feel like you're putting yourself out there and you have just tried and tried and tried and you're not getting the opportunities, message me. I want to talk about it. You're doing something that I can probably fix. If you're really putting yourself out there and you're pitching yourself and you're going after these opportunities and you're not getting yeses, there's probably something tiny we can tweak in what you're doing that will get it for you. But I know most of you in this group, and I think 99% of you, aren't putting yourself out there in the first place. And I know now I'm like on my soapbox and I'm getting like angry, but and I don't mean to be angry. It's just that I know the incredible freaking people who are in this group who've been telling me for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or a year and a half. I've had this group for a while. I know so many of you who've been saying to me all that time that you're going to get to it. You're going to do it next month. You're going to do it next quarter. You're going to do it next year. You've all told me this at some point, and I don't see you doing it. And I want you to, because I know you have gifts and messages that you need to share, that people need to hear, because they need to know that you've been where they are. And now look at where you are, that you've made it through whatever you were struggling with, and that you can show them how to do it too. So by not putting yourself out there, there's someone out there who needs you, who's struggling, who's floundering, who's treading water, and you're not helping them. You're not throwing them the proverbial, what do you call those, like life ring things? You know what I'm talking about, like the lifesaver. You're not throwing them a lifesaver, okay? Because you're not putting yourself out there, because you're telling yourself all these ridiculous stories about why you're not ready for it yet. Okay? Truth bomb. I'm going to get off my soapbox and go get ready for my TV appearance, because now that I've got on video with you guys, I can see that, one, can't see my necklace, so I'm going to go find something shorter. Tip for TV appearances: solid colors. Know what color your background is so that you don't blend into it. More makeup than you would normally wear. Shorter necklace if you're a lady. One like kind of statement piece of jewelry, not a bunch. So I need something shorter so that you can actually see it, because it's going to get cut off on the air. And I can tell how shiny I am. So I am going to go de-shine myself. So, all right. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day and a great weekend. If you watch this now or on the replay and you've got questions, drop them for me and I will come back and get to them. I want to say I hope I wasn't too hard on you, but you know what? I'm trying to hold you accountable. I'm trying to make sure you get out there. I'm trying to make sure you grow your business. I'm trying to make sure you impact lives. And so, you know what? I don't feel bad about it at all. All right. Have a great weekend, guys.